Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Bird's Eye View. I am your host, the one and only Erica McCall, because my last name is McCall. And we are back here. my guest here is laughing. I don't think she ever heard that one before, so she's cracking up at that one. We'll introduce her in a second. But if this is your first time listening in, or if you guys are consistent listeners, thank you. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. You know, this podcast is a passion of mine. I enjoy doing it. So for you guys to be able to listen in and just hear what I have to say as well as my guests, it is a true honor. I am Erica McCall once again. I am a fifth year pro, currently a free agent out here resting, healing, trying to get my body right. I know you know about that, guest. I'm trying not to, guys, I'm trying not to bring her in too early. I keep getting hyped. And I played 4 years in Hungary overseas, as well as my last year in Besiktas. And I played in a variety of different teams in the league. A reason for starting this podcast is I just want to amplify female athletes. I want to amplify the women's basketball player and what we do and what we have to go through, because it's a crazy life, but it's rewarding. It comes with ups and downs, but we love it. And that's why we're here. And that's why we're talking about it. And so I want to help educate you guys on some of the things that you guys don't necessarily know about, just because we're not given that many platforms to be able to give our opinions and our stories on what our lives are all about. So last season, we talked strictly on overseas. This season, we're opening it up to all professional basketball. So that entails WNBA, overseas, and Athletes Unlimited, which I have currently an Athletes Unlimited athlete here on the podcast. So she's here and I just can't wait. So without further ado, our guest here today is Miss the one and only Ohio State legendary Miss Jantel Lavender. Thank you for coming on the show, Jantel.
Of course. Thanks for having me. That was awesome. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love to hype up my guests. I want them to feel comfortable, feel hype, when they're on the show. I just want them to have a good time. So that's what we're going to have here today. But before you say anything else, I got to hype you up even more. So I gotta go down the bio. I gotta get down the accolades. So
This is always
and
the weird
it's a
part.
long one,
Right?
y'all. It's a long one. When I was doing my research, I'm like, yo, this girl is tough. Like I played against you, but I just like going back and looking at everything you've done. It's truly an honor to have you on the show. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. She's a WNBA champion of the 2016 Los Angeles Sparks, which I love, even though I play in the league all over. The Sparks is always my favorite team.
Oh.
WNBA Sixth Woman of the Year in 2016, WNBA All-Star in 2015. She was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame of Ohio in 2017. And most recently, like just yesterday, she pulled down her 1,500th career rebound. That's a lot of boards, y'all. That's a lot of boards. And overseas, since we talk about everything around here, we like to talk about overseas accolades as well. You're a two-time Polish League champ in 2014 and 2015, Italian League champ in 2013, and Turkish League champ in 2016. Y'all, we have a well-decorated athlete on this podcast right now. Thank you. I'm sorry, I had to do that. I had to hype you up.
Oh, thank you. Of course. That sounds crazy. I'm always like, what do I do? What do I do when I hear like people? I'm like, is this me? This is me. Yeah, that's me. But no, thank you. Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a long career, honestly.
Well, that's what I'm here to do. I'm just here to give you your flowers. That's what you got to do when people just go ahead and list your stuff. You just got to sit back and just let them give you your flowers.
Like, yep, that was me.
Yep. I love it. Well, let's get into the game. I always do a game with all my guests just to help us get loosey-goosey before we get into the questions. Okay. So because you are such a champ in this game is called The Champ is Here. The Champ is Here. Okay, so first question.
Okay.
You're celebrating a championship. What is your drink of choice?
Ooh, I'm going hard. I'm trying to get lit, so I'm gonna go with some Casamigos.
Me too.
I'm getting lit.
I'm a tequila girl, and I just love me some Casamigos. I have no shame. I love tequila.
It's just good. I'm like, give me a little bit of Rose's lime juice with it, and I'm a happy camper.
Yes. I'll have to try that.
Yes, you should. It's bomb, and it's not too many calories either.
Say less. We skinny over here, y'all.
We gotta keep them summer bodies together. Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, next question. You won a championship and you're going to the White House. So say you see you in Seattle, you guys won the championship this year. You're going to see, Mr. Joe Biden. What are you wearing to the White House?
Ooh, I gotta come big stepper.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like I love pencil skirts. I'm super girly, so I'll probably wear a pencil skirt, a little open toe shoe, something roughly at the top. Just keep it classy, but I definitely I'm gonna accentuate these hips a little bit. So pencil skirt, maybe like a blouse, but I'm gonna get that silhouette popping.
She said these hips don't lie.
Yeah, you got like a lot of people don't realize athletes have good bodies. You know what I mean? We're
Absolutely.
always in a jersey. So like they can't see like that we're shapely too. We're women. So a lot of times I like to accentuate that outside the court. So like I love dresses and stuff, but definitely at the White House I gotta come step in. Pencil skirt
Absolutely.
and something. Yeah, I'm definitely
Absolutely.
wearing a heel too. Coming up in there like 6'7".
You better.
You already know.
You better. And if you guys win the championship this year, I better see the fit too. I'll be able to say, hey,
Listen,
y'all, we
and I'm
talked about this on the pod.
didn't you hear me? Pencil skirt it is, okay? I already got my outfit planned out. Okay. You got me thinking now, like that would, yes. Maybe something. Yeah, I like pink.
There we go. Say less. Say less. Okay, next question. What's your go-to championship song?
Ooh. I mean, I love the throwback songs like We Ready, like when We Ready. I love those songs, but
What? What?
also like, yeah, you already know. That's like that takes me back to high school. But I'm a slow jams kind of person. So like I like to listen to like reflective music. I know that's kind of crazy. People are like boo, but no, I like I don't know. Probably something that's gonna make me cry because I'm gonna just be so overwhelmed with emotion because we won.
Mm,
But something hype too. I guess I like Drake. I like Drake. I
everyone
don't
loves
really have a
Drake.
specific song, but just like maybe like a playlist like for the entire celebration.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I love Drake.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Drake. So he gonna get you hyped and maybe some slow jams, maybe some
Yeah,
Marvin Gaye, some Luther
it's a
Vandross,
big,
some Lita
yes,
Anita,
old school. Yeah, I was listening to Fire and Desire today. I'm like, yeah, I'm an old school. Yeah, but I love slow music. My teammates in college used to make fun of me all the time because before the game, I'm like singing like her, like focus. Like I'm singing slow jams, and they're like, "How you get focused with that?" I'm like, listen to what she's saying. But
So when you work out, say you working out with music, do you work out with slow jams?
yes, I'm
Okay.
different. People like a lot of times people need like that rah rah music. Like me,
Yeah.
I'm like I need to relax my mind so I can really get focused and get into this workout.
Absolutely. Okay. I like to shoot with slow jams music, so I understand that. Only shooting though,
Okay.
just it keeps me
I know
calm
wait,
and
you need some
relaxed.
like you need
Yeah,
some high energy. Yeah. But me, I listen
exactly.
to slow jams all day.
If we run in sprints, I can't listen to
No,
Girl,
see,
you know I love
no, I'm
you.
not really gonna run a sprint or no. When I'm doing conditioning or before the season, no, no, no. I need some hype music.
Okay,
But
okay,
like once
okay.
it's going, I'm like, we need to like relax our minds. We high energy all the time.
Say less. I'll take it. And last question. In 2016, when you won the championship, the
Mhm.
buzzer goes off. Who was that teammate that you went to and you just hugged and embraced like we did it? Who was
Or
that?
you can see the video. I'm NECA. I mean, I went to her because obviously there's no written script for winning a championship and just her
Right.
relentlessness after that. I'm like, that was the first person I'm like, oh my gosh, we went through all of this and you just saved the day. You know what I mean? So I sprinted to her. You can watch our championship video and see me like, first of all, I was in a trance, like jumping up and down in one spot by myself, like having this moment. And then I was like, find people, find people. And then I found her. She was the first person I went to.
Oh, I love that. Shout out to my Stanford sister, NECA,
Yes.
the players association president.
Oh,
She
no,
does it
big
all and she
time.
makes game-winning championship shots. She just
And she's a true leader.
that
She's a leader.
and I played with Janae my freshman year and just like the Wumake like leadership. It's like it's in the blood.
Yeah,
It's
just
truly in the
strong,
blood.
strong black women, just strong women.
Exactly. I love those Wumukes. Okay, that was the game. I hope you had fun.
No, that was fun. I was like, oh, you got me thinking. I'm like, you got me thinking about stuff from like, wait, she asked me this on the call. Like, let me think about this after, like, for real, get my stuff ready and ready to go.
Yes, I love it. I want y'all to have fun and
Yeah.
just enjoy yourselves
Yeah.
throughout this podcast. So let's get down to the nitty gritty,
Okay.
the questions. You talked about that you had a long career in this league. Longevity, you were drafted in 2011 to the Sparks, and you're
Yep.
still here today.
Yep.
What does it mean to you, to still be here balling? Typically a tenure in this league is about 3 years, 3 to 4 years, and you surpassed that, way way long ago. So I think it's beautiful, and a testament, to your hard work and just who you are. But I'll let you speak on that. So what does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, thank you for that. But I also think that in a sense, like basketball players, we're extremists, right? And for me, I mean, I just love the game. Like I feel like I get it. And you want to compare the latter, like, do I want to go and work? I mean, obviously some people don't have that option, but like if you can really work yourself up to be on a professional team, one of these 144 slots, I feel like do that. You know what I mean? Like work hard enough so that you can be able to compete within that. But I don't know. I just think my work ethic is always just like has been through the roof. I have a lot of different motivating factors from when I was young and why I started playing. But for me, I just started to really just grow this knack and this love for the game that I just enjoy being around it. I love camaraderie. You know what I mean? So a lot of times,
Mhm.
even in this late in my career, people are like, I mean, early in your career, you're looking for numbers and like the stat line to be filled up. But for me, it's like, it's another element that I think people miss. Like the having your teammates, they become sisters, and having people around you that, you just enjoy, like you spend so much time with them, like these relationships that you develop, you kind of get addicted to like being in a team setting. You know what I mean? So for me, that hard work and obviously being in younger players' ears and obviously producing. Don't get me wrong, I'm not putting that on the back burner, but it becomes like, a thing where you want to see this league continue to progress. So I think that having players like me who've been here from the beginning to see like the evolution of the league, and we want to continue to see that grow. It's important to have players that understand where we've come from and where we want to go. So yeah, I don't know. It's definitely tough. I think the players and the caliber of this league is going up. Is definitely a lot tougher. So at 33, it is definitely a challenge to just make sure you can play with these young players that can go. I mean, everybody's super athletic, and you don't really see 1 through 5 positions. Like everybody can kind of do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's definitely evolved, but I don't know. I just attribute it to my work ethic and how hard I work and my dedication to the game and how much I love
Beautiful. Wow.
it.
That was truly beautiful. So you talked a lot about the younger players in this league, this next generation. What advice would you give someone like a Shakira Austin, another big in this league, and she's out there balling right now. I got an opportunity just to see her in training camp when I was in Washington for my little time there. And she's incredible to be able to witness and just her growth. But then probably the 3 weeks has been amazing. So what advice would you give her to be able to have a long-standing career in this league?
That's awesome. And I don't think people ask that question enough, but it's mentality. Oftentimes we're working in a gym, trying to get better at basketball, and we're trying to fight. And a lot of players are good enough to play in this league, but it's the mental aspect of it, in my opinion. And that's what overseas and WNBA combined, like as much as you practice in the gym, like you need to make sure you give your mind time, it's,
Mhm.
it's a grueling, rigorous job. Where and what I mean by that is you can have an extreme high one day and you can have an extreme low, and you have to be able to kind of balance that. You know what I mean? Like not letting a game that you had where you didn't perform the way you wanted to perform, take effect on the next game, because it can be a snowball effect. You have to have a very strong mental. So I would tell young players, just get mentally strong. If you have to meditate, if you have to talk to somebody who's been there, get a mentor. For me, I never had a therapist, but I kind of have that package in my mind to know that I have to meditate a lot. I have to make sure I get quiet and give myself time so that I can be able to go through like the roller coaster ride of what the league can present to you, especially if you're not one of those like quote unquote star players. You know what I mean? So it's mental, and it's hard. At the same time, I mean, to get one of these spots. And for me, it's just like what I do for myself is I kind of talk to myself in a sense.
Mhm.
So it's just like you kind of have to be that way. I mean, that kind of comes from overseas as well, but just making sure I just stay on a straight and narrow. Like basketball doesn't define me. I play basketball because I love basketball. You know what I mean? And just kind of separating the two. So all in all, in a nutshell, I say just working on your mentality as much as you work on your game.
That's amazing. And I wholeheartedly agree because I went through some struggles with my mental and it jacked up my physical, being
Exactly.
able to try to ball on the court. I couldn't even make like a wide open layup because I'm just so tense in my mindset. And like you said, young players coming into this league, we have these huge goals like, okay, I'm gonna average a double double, I'm gonna get so many minutes and I'm gonna start. And then when it doesn't happen, it messes with your mental. And that happened to me.
It does. And a lot of times it's not a matter of you not being able to make a layup. It's just mentally being locked in, you know what I mean? And knowing that you're capable and knowing, like, I told one of my younger players from a team I played on when I was a couple years ago, I'm like, if you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm a dog, like, whatever you have to do to get yourself going, because the lows can be extremely low and that's real, you know what I mean? So I'm a person that likes to keep it real, and I didn't have like the decorated WNBA career. College, yes, but obviously the accomplishments that I've had over time is amazing. But it's been a struggle in some instances for me as well. So those are the things that I think younger people have to think about. Not all of us are capable of making a layup. I would bet $1 million that you make a layup. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like I missed the last layup, and then I missed.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I don't want to miss again, and I want to be perfect. And it's like nobody's going to be perfect at any moment. And you just got to forget yesterday and move on to tomorrow.
I wish I would have heard this advice when I was in my third year in
Yeah.
Indiana. And like just that was my mindset. Like I missed the layup and then I'm like, it moves on the whole game, you thinking about it. I was crying, to my dad every single day, like, man, I don't belong this league. Like I'm playing like trash. Like
Oh, you were absolutely amazing. And I just remember watching you when you were young too, but because I pay attention to everything. Like I
mhm,
check stats and scores of everything. So I'm like a junkie for like stats and stuff and like
right.
watching players rebound a machine you are. But I
Thank
also
you.
think that, yes, I also think that like younger players need mentors. And that's what my big thing is what I want to do. Because I would tell you, like, we would be, the mental would be so much stronger and the physical would just come because you're already good enough because you're here. But it's just having those two go hand in hand. Having that balance is really important, because not only do you have to be mentally strong to make that layup, but like, what if you got a coach you don't like? What if a coach is not feeling you? What if, you got a boyfriend or a girlfriend at home that may be driving you nuts? You know what I mean? Like, you have to be able to leave that at home, come to the game, like come to the gym, like not worry about the coach, not giving away your power, and focusing on what you know you can do. So it's a long list of things that for me that falls under the mental aspect of the game that I think a lot of people don't tap into. And that's why you kind of see some of these people like, wait, where's she at? Like, it's not because they're not physically able. It's all a mental thing.
Yes, yeah. Girl, I'm about to cry over here.
You know what I mean? Like, and I want to help. Like, I have so much to give, because I know I've had so many low moments and nobody would ever have known.
Mm,
And it's because I'm like, no, like, I got this. But when I come home, I might cry. I might, not go anywhere for weeks and just ball up and come to sleep. People don't know what I'm doing when I go home. But
right.
it's just making sure when you know that this is your job and you get to that workplace, it's like it's business. And yeah, you might not be feeling me today, coach or whoever it is, but I'm feeling me. You know what I mean? And I'm not about
Absolutely.
to give away my power. So it's just you just have to have a mentality no matter what. And it's like you'll wake up and you'll be like, oh, it's been 12 years. You know what I mean? It's just like no matter what, like nobody would be able to count how many low moments I've had, probably more than good. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I would I go back to that, and I don't think enough young players get into that. But get your mental strong, work on your read books, read things on being, elevating your mind and making sure that you can mentally and physically withstand criticism, good times, bad times, roller coaster seasons. You can't control everything. So, an environment that's not enjoyable to be in if you're not winning. It's just so much that goes into it, but mental.
Mental, that's
Yeah,
it.
but
No, and
it was
this
like
this is the
mentally.
reason why I created this podcast, is because I'm hoping that younger players, high school, college, early in, in the league, that they can listen to this, take it in, and use, the stories and the advice that we're giving them, to, so they don't have to go through some of the things that we went through. And of course,
Yes.
we're always going to go through highs and lows, but shoot, if we can help, the next generation. Dang, I sound old on this.
Oh, that's my goal too. Like to make sure somebody doesn't have to go through the hardships you went through. That's
Absolutely.
the evolution of the world. And I love it. That's exactly how you should be, to give
Absolutely.
back to somebody else, because it's not going to last forever.
Absolutely. And I wish it was just talking to my friend, my good friend Sydney Weiss. Did you play with Sid?
Yes, I love
Okay.
it.
Yes,
Yeah.
love Sid. We were just talking about the resources that the league needs to provide for people exiting the league, people
Yes.
just now getting into the league. I kind of had something similar when Catch, was first getting involved into the front office of the Indiana Fever, and she kind of helped us and guide us, but more of the professional side of things and how we can get jobs and stuff like that. But I think it's so needed for players to be able to communicate with other players on how to
Absolutely.
go through this.
And for me, like I'm on track to be a life coach. I should graduate in like July, like to get my certificate. But
Congratulations.
I think that that should be like a resource for the W, like to have somebody with that transitional mindset to help us. Like it's a grieving process. Even if you get injured and you don't know if the team's gonna pick you up, there's a level of grieving that goes in that. And I don't think people realize how serious that is, and like life goes on, right? But
Mhm.
I want to be a life coach to be able to help like athletes, student athletes, people who are going through like harder times, because it's not glorious as much as people think it is. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So all the time. It is amazing to be, to be able to play this sport and make it a career, but it's definitely mentally grueling, and you need somebody to talk to, period.
absolutely. Well, if anyone needs a life coach, I'm recommending you.
Yes, come talk
Absolutely,
to me.
because
Come talk to
just
me.
this conversation here alone, I am enlightened. I feel wiser. I feel uplifted. So
You should. You should.
thank you. Thank you for that. Well, let's kind of switch gears and move on to overseas life.
Yes. Let's go.
Where has been your favorite country to play?
I would say by far is Turkey. You mentioned you played at Besiktas. I played there my rookie year.
Yeah.
Interesting. But I also played at Fenerbahce for 2 seasons. Yakendo, it was a team that folded, but I played for them for 1 season. And then I played in Mersin. So I
Mhm.
played for Chickarova. But yeah, I've played in a lot of different teams. I was in Poland for 3 years, Italy for 2, and Turkey for 5.
Okay. Okay, so I played in Hungary for 4 years. I
Oh,
played in a small little city called Sexar. Most people don't even know where it is. It's real
did
small.
you
It's
like
like
it? Was it awesome?
I loved it.
Oh,
I
good.
loved it. It was like family there, and it is everything's so small, and everyone's like, "Hey, Erica," everyone knows you are, a black person in town,
I
so
love
everybody.
I love that though.
I loved
You
it, and
need
then so
that when you're overseas though. You need that love when you
you do,
out. Like.
and that's why I'm telling all these young players to please try to open up your mindset when you go overseas, because if you just have this closed mind, I'm just gonna ball and go back to my apartment, you're gonna hate it, and it's gonna be
Yeah,
a terrible experience.
exactly.
And you sound like you've had the
Oh no,
open mind
absolutely.
experience for sure.
I always tell people to like enjoy the culture, because a lot of times, like, why are you going overseas? If you don't want to expand in a
Mhm.
sense, you know what I mean? It's all a part of evolution to me. I'm big on that. So if I say that too many times, I got on my 222 shirt. I believe in numbers. But
Say the
I
word.
feel like when you go over there, you have to embrace the culture. Like every country I go to, I want to try the food, what they're known for. Go out to the coffee shops, like you said, don't sit in my apartment. Go to the center, tour places around. Like when I played in Italy, I mean, I was everywhere. I was in Florence every week, in Milan. I wanted to go. I was in Berlin when I was in Poland. I just made sure I saw other places, because a lot of times you can go there and not really get to see those countries. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop doing that. Thinking like year 6, I'm done, with missing opportunities to see these countries, because I've been in Russia probably 25 times. You know what I mean?
Huh.
And it's just like, why wouldn't I go and see something in Russia? You know what I mean? I'm just going there, and all I can say is cold. Like, come on now. Like, no. I wanted to have experiences that I could bring back. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's definitely important to have an open mind with that too, to make sure that you can understand, and obviously you might not understand, but so you can feel the culture, so you can have some quality of life.
Absolutely. I mean, my experiences overseas has been amazing. And at least I can describe it as that because
Trying
I've
to.
got to get to know my teammates. I've got to try new foods. I've got to, just really embrace myself and the culture. And it's just been an absolute amazing experience. That's why I enjoy playing overseas so much. And so that's beautiful that I'm talking to someone similar because I've had some teammates, people I'm really close to who just, they, they don't like overseas.
They don't have great experiences. And I mean, I've known some athletes that only could play 1 year because mentally they were like, I can't do it. Like a lot of times people thinking they're missing something. I'm like, when you come home, sit at home in the winter time and see how much you're gonna be doing. Like it's not gonna be much. Everybody gotta go to work. You know
Yes.
what I mean? So just if you look at it like that, like I'm going to work. You know what I mean? Like you just away. You get on those FaceTime calls, do whatever you gotta do, but when you're not missing anything. So with this
Absolutely.
small window of opportunity with basketball, don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
Don't miss
Listen to us, guys. We're trying to
it.
tell you. We're trying to tell
Don't
you. Don't miss
miss
out
it.
on it.
A small window, you know what I mean?
Such a
And
small.
you'll have all the time in the world to be with your friends and go circle back with people, from wherever you from, but enjoy it. Like for this time, it's a very, very narrow time for some, and you know what I mean? And it ends quick. It's nobody's final end goal. It's nobody's final destination.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little about more Turkey
Yeah.
because I'm fascinated to know what your experience is like. For me, everything was just brand new. It was really, I felt like a rookie coming in, new team, new teammates, new country, new culture, new language. And so still Turkey, it took me, I don't even think I fully adapted to Turkey even after
Oh,
leaving, just because it just reminds me of New York. It's just very fast paced. Living in Istanbul, very fast paced with Beşiktaş, and I was listening to slow country life.
yeah. So you like more quaint places, like
Yes.
okay. But see, for me, the reason why I loved Istanbul is because you can be out the way, but then if you want to be in the mix, you can. But for me, I played
That's
at
true.
Beşiktaş my rookie year, and I absolutely did. You like the Starbucks that was downstairs?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, like I was always in there, like every day, like just relaxing. I knew all the people in there. I would be, saying hi to them, but I feel like you can, like in small areas in Istanbul, you can make your own. Like Besiktas
Yeah.
is its own area, which I think is really quiet and very upscale, like Bebek. All those places you can kind of just go to like smaller little restaurants. But when you get into the heart of Istanbul and you go to those malls like Istinye Park, it does feel really, really big. But
Right.
um, I don't know. It was just something about Istanbul. I don't know if it was, you say New York, and I definitely can agree with that, but it was just like upscale. Like I like really nice things. So like just I mean, people dressed nice. People cared about, their appearance there. And I
Right.
really liked that. Like the fashion was top of the line, excuse me. And I don't know, it was just, I don't know, it felt American like in a sense.
It
I guess
does.
maybe why I kind of resonated, like I love that place a little bit more, but I don't know, it gave me like an American feel because things stay open late. I mean, you can get good food everywhere. I mean, people are everywhere. So I think that's probably why I liked it that much. But it's just when you go to other countries, like when I compare it to like Poland, it's just I guess I would say Istanbul too because they don't stare at Black people like that.
Hmm.
They're used to Americans being there, and in some places like Poland and
Black people being there.
yeah, they're like I mean I've been in certain places where the whole restaurant was like turning around when I walk in, and I was like, "Hi, everybody," you know what I mean? I am a Black person. I am here. I am playing
Yes.
here, and I'm not leaving. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's probably why I can get a little lengthy when I'm talking,
I'm
but
loving it. I'm
yeah.
absolutely loving it.
But yeah, that's probably why I love Istanbul because it just felt homey in a sense.
Hmm.
Like I definitely feel like it's technically like one of my second homes. Like I still have friends hitting me up now, like when are you coming to visit? Like Turkish people.
Yeah.
So like I
Um,
branch out and meet the locals.
there was this, I think there was a man that knew you. I
Sure.
his wife was my hair braider.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe you know Mustafa.
Yes, Mustafa. Yes. She did my
That's
hair right now. And Chi
you right
Chi.
he writes me all the time, like, when are you gonna come visit? Like, cause he was my friend, and I'm like, I'm sure his wife is amazing. But like, he was one of my friends when I first got to Besiktas, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, and we kept in contact. Like, we had like a little Scorpio connection. It was funny, but he was like, "I'm Scorpion." I was like, "I'm Scorpion." They say Scorpion over there, but I was just like, that's how we kind of connected. But he's a huge Besiktas fan, so.
Absolutely. And he knows all about the women's basketball game. I was like super impressed. He gave me a ride home after I got my hair braided and he was just breaking down everything about the women's basketball game. And I was like, oh yeah, my sister's the one Barner. He's like, I know. I was like, hey, you playing for Chico? He's like, yeah, I know. He just
He's
knows
super
everything.
dope.
So that's super cool that I love that. You just got
Me too.
the
I'm like,
Besiktas experience.
all world, right? Like all world.
I love it. So where was or what was your favorite championship playing overseas? You won several in Poland, Italy, and Turkey. So which one was your favorite?
I would definitely have to say the championship that I won at Fenner. That was my first year at Fenner, and actually the championship I won in Wisła 2 years prior to that, and then Fenner. They're kind of like neck and neck. And the reason I say that is because I absolutely loved my teammates.
Mhm.
Like, I think that's a huge part for me, is just like making sure I can connect with my teammates. I'm the person that's like, hey, y'all want to go eat? Hey, y'all want to go do something? Hey, can we hang out a little bit? Y'all know we can't just be close on the court. We got to hang out. Like, I'm that person. Like, we got to do stuff. We got to hang out. You can just come over. I'll cook tacos. Like, so those teams were just, they embraced that. So we were close, like, and the wins, like, people don't understand, like, the destination to a championship is what I believe in. You
Yeah,
can't control results, you can't do any of that. But the fun and the time and the experience you have on the way there, to me, is what makes that experience much better. Like, if you have
absolutely.
amazing teammates, if y'all love each other, like, you like just get that much more hype.
Who were some of your American teammates?
When I was in Wisła, it was Allie Quigley. I had Zane Tamane. I mean, oh my gosh, she was probably one of my best teammates.
I love that.
Um, I think she's from Lithuania.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, no, Latvia. One of those. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's been so long ago. But yeah, don't kill me, Zane, if you hear this. But she was one of the sweetest people, and you just never know what people are going through. She had like this whole crazy story where, like, she was going through a divorce the whole season, but she was one of the best teammates I've ever
I
had.
love that.
We had Christina Ovina. She's a Spanish point guard. She plays for the
Okay.
Spanish national team. I mean, just an awesome player. And then our Polish players were probably my favorites. Like, Justina was our captain. Like, she had us out all the time drinking Polish vodka. So it was just like, I don't know, it was just really fun with them. And then in Fenner, I had Marissa Coleman and I had Allie Quigley again. Allie and I, Courtney, like, we played like a combined like 8 seasons together. So about reference,
Wow.
I like, yeah. So me and Allie won a lot together overseas. So then we played in Fenner, and I was Marissa Coleman was on that team. Allie Quigley was on that team. Not Anastasia Veremenko, which is one of the top Belarusian players I've ever
Mm,
seen. I mean, just a beast, the greatest passer I probably ever played with. And then our Turkish players, like the young
I
girls that
love
were
Turkish
there.
food.
When I tell you, I still keep in contact with them. Like, one of my favorites, Bill Gates, she called me the other day just to ask me for advice about her going from college, maybe back to Europe. And I'm like, I genuinely make connections. So I don't know. That year was so special to me because I've seen those young players evolve. Now they're like running teams, killing it in Turkey. So I'm just super proud of them. Melissa, all of them. Like, they all know me. So um I don't know. Those two were important to me. And I circle back to make sure I wrap it all up because I was close to those teams. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, those players were super special to me. We all had like a deep bond. Like, it was like we were riding for each other. And those are the type of championships that are like, we worked hard for this, but we're gonna enjoy this win.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely. Okay, so we talked about your overseas experience. Let's now transition. You're my first player that's played in 3 different leagues. So let's now transition into Athletes Unlimited. What was that? Okay, first, let's break down what Athletes Unlimited was about, because just in case some fans don't know what it is, do you want to break it down, or I can do it?
sure. Yeah. So Athletes Unlimited is a league that is a lot different from the W. So it's based on a leaderboard, and which means everything is points. So rebounds are points, assists are points, scoring baskets is points, but also turnovers, you can get deducted points. So it's just a system to just basically not allow like it allows like players who never maybe not get as much exposure in the league to have some chance to kind of build themselves up on the leaderboard, not just by scoring the basketball. But also, what it stands for is just allowing players to tell their stories, allowing people to be just open with who they are. Like it welcomes diversity, it welcomes mothers, it welcomes players who aren't in the WNBA. And our league was very successful. It welcomes anything you can think of that would be kind of shunned in some leagues. It was just open arms for that.
Yeah.
And I just love the storytelling that people could tell things that they never really got a chance to speak about or be heard in a sense about. And I don't know, it just sheds light on, I don't know, a lot of the things that may need to kind of get better within some other leagues. Because I think it's important, especially when you have a really small league, to like tap into the players that are a part of it that make it up. So for me, that was just a huge step for the women's game, you know what I mean? So we can get to know us, because obviously we don't have the platform that the men's game have right now. So let's talk to these players so that, you know, maybe that can put butts in his seats, you know what I mean? And I do think we have a great fan base, but like, think about, that's what I was talking about. I had a specific interview on there where I'm just like, imagine if like a little girl can be like, Jantel's just like me, she had a childhood just like I did, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can do this, you know what I mean? But some players aren't heard from, and it's not to say like I like to be a part of 144. To me, in a sense, you're big time in itself,
Yeah.
but um I don't know, it'll just, I think it would just bring more people and more love for individual players, and we could just tap into their stories. It's not a bitter thing, it's just like, let's expand this league, you know what I mean? But you did a great job of that.
That's beautiful. And I think I watched that interview you're talking about with Ari Chambers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, round the table. Yeah, with highlighter. Yeah.
yeah, people, it's interesting when you start talking and you're not like quote unquote like a superstar. People think that you're like talking from a bitter place. Like, I wouldn't change anything that I've been through. Like, I wouldn't change a snippet of what I've gone through, except the fact that I may have given my power away in some instances.
Yeah.
But I speak about that so that we can tap into these younger players and get, you know, keep the league evolving. Not for me in particular, but it's for everybody. Like, I'm speaking for a group, not just me personally, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. And I think that Athletes Unlimited was like a player first type of league.
Yes, yes. It was
That
player led league. So like based on week to week, like the captains, the people with the most points, get to draft their teams, and they get to coach their teams and structure it how they want that week to go. And I think that was just the best aspect of it, because players get to kind of sit in the coach's seat. You get to sit in the assistant seat. You get to sit in the seat of understanding that people are going to be mad at you no matter how much they know that you have on your plate.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just gives you a different perspective, which I think is amazing.
I thought it was super cool being able to watch. When I was back overseas, being able to watch. I was watching some of the drafts. I thought the drafts were so entertaining.
Yeah, they were.
Dejanay Carrington was my freshman back at Stanford, and
Oh wow,
watching
that
her,
was one of my faves.
yeah, watching her be a leader, and
Yeah. She was the captain one week for me, and she did her thing. We were 3-0 when she was my captain.
yes,
So,
D,
yeah,
yes,
she was killing it, and she was young and she was feisty, and she wasn't taking no stuff as our coach.
I'm
She was like, "This
saying.
is how we running it, and this is how we gonna run it." I was like, "Yes, you got to be stern in it for people to respect you."
And that's truly what D was like that her freshman year. So I know she was out there, working it for Athletes
Yeah,
Unlimited.
she was great.
I'm just really happy that there's more opportunity for us out there
Yeah,
rather than just overseas, rather than the league, have an opportunity for us to play at home in front of our friends and family and just be able to play. It seems like everyone played loose, and that really translated to players playing in the league. I think of Lexi. Lexi's out there balling. She attributed much of that because of Athletes Unlimited. Dejanay,
yeah,
another person, balling with confidence. I mean, I know D could ball, but
yeah.
sometimes you need leagues like that allow you to just play loose, play free in order for you to get your confidence back and get rocking and playing in the league. Because like we talked about, there's much pressure in this league. And if the mental ain't there, you're not gonna be able to perform how you want to perform. So shout out to Athletes Unlimited, because I
Yes.
thought it was super dope to see players like that,
It,
get their groove back again.
it was players that can actually play that may not be able to showcase that so much in
Yeah.
like a training camp setting or a WNBA season setting, but like to be able to watch that here where WNBA coaches can come and actually be in like on site. I don't know. I think it was fantastic.
Yeah, people
Our
like Tasha
owners here from
Cole.
our owners here from Seattle were at the games in Vegas. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So much exposure, the possibility for exposure there.
Absolutely. So are you looking to play Athletes Unlimited next year, or
Yeah, I definitely want to be a part of it. I'm on the executive committee there. So
see?
yeah, so I'm thinking about, yeah, I definitely would love to. Obviously, we're trying to tab it where players can have the option to play overseas as well as be a part of AU. So we're just working out the logistics with that. And if it works out, then absolutely, because I absolutely love the experience.
Absolutely. I just love that people have the option now. It's
Yes.
an option. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. And shout out to AU and all they're doing. Shout out to Tasha Cloud. She's kind of the one that just been the forefront, along with the players committee, to
She was
get this
awesome.
thing going.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, that wraps up the interview.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank
of
you.
course.
Thank you for being with me and for answering some of my questions and just bringing wisdom and enlightening us, on your journey with WNBA overseas and AU. And just I hope there's people out there who gets as uplifted as I was, during this episode.
I love that.
So thank
It's,
you.
it's just real and it's genuine. So
Absolutely.
sure, as many people as I can help and touch and get them to understand everything about it, that's the goal.
Thank you. Well, before we leave, I have to do the story of the day. And that's when I
Okay.
ask my guests what is their craziest. And I'm still going to do this. If they play overseas, I'm going to ask what was your craziest overseas story, because I love to hear them. So,
Oh my,
what do you have?
I have some crazy overseas stories. I don't even know where to start, but let me see. Um I don't know if it should be like, because I told this same story on AU, but I can tell a different one because that was on that interview. Let's go with, so one time I was coming from the airport, I was in Istanbul and I was looking for a taxi. And at the time, I didn't know you shouldn't get like local taxis because they charge people that they know are foreign.
Yes.
So I don't even know why I was getting a taxi at this point in time, but it was in Istanbul, it was overseas. And I get in this taxi and I'm riding around for like 2.5 hours. And I'm thinking he's lost and he's speaking another language. So he's acting like he doesn't understand me. But when I showed him the address, I showed him everywhere I was supposed to go. He said, okay. And so then we just start driving around Turkey. And I'm just like, he's like pulling over to all these taxi stands, like speaking Turkish, like asking them where he could. I'm like, but I don't want to get out the car at the
Right.
same time. So it was so crazy. And then I ended up just like kind of yelling at him in English. He's yelling at me in Turkish. And I'm just like, listen, I don't even know what we're gonna do here, but I'm not paying you 500 latte. Like I'm not paying 500 Turkish lira. That's Polish. I'm not paying you that. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, we gonna have to figure something out. But he drove me around for 2.5 hours for a 30-minute ride. And at the time, I didn't know like if it was roads closed. He was just acting like it was construction, just lying so that he could jack that price up. But that's one. I was as I was talking about that, I thought about the second one.
Keep it
I was
coming.
in a I was in a nightclub for New Year's when the shooting down the street happened. Those terrorist attacks were happening in Turkey.
What nightclub was it?
It was
Do you
I was
remember?
at Black.
Black is the club. Yeah. I always go to Black.
Lit. And so having a great time. And then all of a sudden the lights shut off,
Mm.
music shuts off, everything shuts off. And we're just in their sight, like all these people that were just partying is just in the club, just sitting there like, what the F? And they were announcing that the shooting just happened. So we go outside and we're like trying to find a taxi, no taxi in sight. And mind you, I got to get to the other across the bridge.
Yep.
So I'm like, I don't know what to do. So we're walking, like hauling ass, like to try to find a taxi, walk like 2 miles before we could find a taxi. I'm like frazzled at this point because you know you're drinking, you're drinking. When you get out that club, you be ready to get in that taxi, pass
Yes.
out, get to your house, and go lay down. But me, like walking 2 miles,
Mm.
lit, lit. And I'm just like, I started to just become so frazzled because I'm like, we're not gonna find a taxi. I was a brat, honestly. I'm just like, we're not gonna find a taxi, barely find a taxi where somebody wants to take us home. Then I get home and I see the news and I see like 6 people got shot up in this club, and I was
Wow.
right next door. So that was another crazy one. And then the bombings in Turkey when they were happening, I was
Mm.
there. So yeah, I was there during some pretty crazy times. And people are like, "Are you gonna come home?" I'm like, I mean, it could be just as dangerous at home, but
Yeah.
I have so many crazy stories like that I could go down the line of.
You won for craziest
Did
stories.
I?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I don't even know if I should be like, those were true.
No, that just means that you live life and you live to tell a story. And that's
You
what stories are all
already,
about.
period.
And that's what
Period.
stories all about. That was I was on the edge of my seat. Ooh,
Right.
because I
Right.
was there. I've been in Black before. I know, you got the scenery on the outside. I know because I never leave when everybody else leaves. I always get my taxi before. I'm like, I'm going, y'all.
Same.
And it's hectic then trying to find a taxi. So I
It
can't
is.
imagine what it was like during all that
I mean, it was
chaos.
chaos. I mean, but imagine being in the club and then the lights go black. And I'm like, they're like, don't leave. Nobody can leave. No, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, is this real life? So it was kind of crazy and scary at the same time, but I'm glad I got out. Then the next day, my coaches were pissed at me that I was out. I'm like, I go out all the time. Like, I'm doing my job, right? Like, mind your business. I'm grown.
I had the
Mind
same
your
issue with me going out on New Year's. They were mad. They were mad at me. They wanted to fine me for going out on New Year's. I was like, I literally go out like maybe 3, 4 times a year. My
business.
teammates are begging me, E, come out, come out.
Oh, you don't
I
go out at all. But see, I was always out. Like I have fun. I told you I get out and overseas. I have a good time. I enjoy myself. So I was like, it was New Year's. Like, how was I supposed to know? They were like, didn't even want to talk to me. Like I was like, is this like a thing where like parents are mad at their kids, like if they run out in the middle of the street and you're just mad because I almost died, or are you mad because I went out? Like, which one is it? Y'all gonna have to explain to me because I need to know. Like, are y'all happy I'm here? Or like, say something. Like, I need to know what is this? Like,
that's when when Black parents, when their kids run away and the mom the kid come back like, I gotta kill you.
yeah, right.
But they
That's
really
exactly.
they happy you here, but
That's
they
what I
so
was like. I was
pissed.
like, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with how we do it in our household. My mom was mad that I almost got hit by that car, so she whooped me because she almost lost me, and her heart was going crazy. But they were just like, you went out. I'm like, yeah, and I would again. Who could have predicted that? That's hindsight, right? Hindsight's 2020.
Absolutely. Out always.
No, like,
Always.
so, but
And
yeah.
that's a beautiful perspective to leave on.
Thank you.
Well, fans, thank you for tuning in to another episode. Thank you, Jantel, for joining us. This was really fun. I really
Of
enjoyed
course, I had
myself. So
a great time. Thank
thank
you.
you. So I'm so happy that you be able to join the show. Fans, if you want to follow the show, you can follow us at birdseyeView.podcast on Instagram. You can follow us at the number one Bird's Eye View on Twitter. Jantel, where can you find you on social?
I'm on Twitter, Instagram. I have my own podcast too, but I am on, yeah, I and mine's is
Wait,
a little bit different speed,
but
but
hype it up.
but yeah.
Amplify.
So I love how you use your name with your podcast. Mine is called Lavender Elephant. And I'm just starting it up because I like to talk about like hard conversations that
Mhm.
people don't want to have. It
Right.
could be controversial. It can make some people's, hair stand up. But I think we need to start talking about some things that are just not that comfortable to talk about, whether it's with basketball, whether it's in life. You sometimes got to just do shadow work to understand who you are as a person. And to me, that's kind of the gist of it, like positivity, like pushing good energy, good vibes, love, peace, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like talking about death and different
Mhm.
things with like different angles, sex and sexuality and just all the hard stuff, politics. And it's not completely off the ground yet. I got a couple episodes where I kind of ask people, do they think that they have it? So I have that one. It's one on judgment, but the episodes are going to be pumping out. But I just want to make sure I shed light on stuff that I feel like people just kind of avoid talking about. But I am on Instagram, Jantel Lav. That's on Instagram. On Twitter, yeah, it's at JLav42. I think all of my names are different. And then, yeah, my podcast is on Spotify. It's Lavender Elephant. So yeah, it's all.
Beautiful. I didn't know you had a podcast. I love
Yeah,
that. I
so I just
love.
started it and I haven't promoted it as much, but now that I said it on here, I'm like, I'm gonna make sure I get
Y'all stay tuned. Stay
these
tuned.
two
It's gonna be
episodes.
coming out. I'll be promoting it on my page because
Yes, and
that's what we
yours too.
gotta
I was
do.
like, this is awesome. I was like, I love seeing players with podcasts. Like, let's
Thank you.
talk. Let's talk about it. I could talk all day. That's why I was like, I get a little lengthy with my answers because I like
No, absolutely. The
love to
fans, I
talk
know the
about stuff.
fans will absolutely appreciate this. So
Yes, I
thank
love,
you.
of course.
And for everyone, for the next episode, we'll have a special episode. We'll have my agent, Mike Cowan, be answering questions. Don't know if you know Mike, but he'll be answering questions about CBA, WNBA overseas. So fans, if you guys want to write in a question for my agent to answer, you can tweet me at One Bird's Eye View and use the hashtag Bird's Eye View Pod. So just ask your question. Of course, I'll be tweeting this out later on in the week, but I think it's gonna be pretty darn special to have him be able to answer questions. I saw that you guys were freaking going crazy trying to read the CBA, asking me what is it about. I don't know. I asked him, so I'm gonna bring him on so he can answer questions for y'all. So thank you guys. It's been a blessing once again. Season 2, episode 2 with Jantel Lavender. We're out. Deuces.